Hi, I sewed this fabulous J.W. Anderson Harry Styles cardigan in just over a weekend. You can too. Let me show you how I turned a knitting pattern into a sewing pattern. What you need: just an ordinary sewing machine. We're going to use a straight stitch, but get a new needle. Size 80, thrifted and recycled knits, cuffs and bands, collar, front band with buttons on if you can. Design your own cardigan. That's the J.W. Anderson design. 72 patches, each patch 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres. 84 centimetres across the front, 84 centimetres across the back. Sleeve length 48, body length 60. It is a very big cardigan. Here's what I changed. I made the whole thing from recycled knits. The cardigan is completely lined and I sewed all the lining in by hand. Here's my interpretation of the colours. You can see that I have used different shades of blue, just some green, and with one white patch in front and one white patch at the back. 74 patches with 2 extra for a gusset. I like a gusset. Gives you that bit of room under the armpit. My sleeves are narrower at the wrist, and at the back I made the band a lot deeper. Let's go! This would be such a good project to do with friends. That way you could all share the colours out. 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres, 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Use the best quality knits you can find. They don't have to be all of the same makeup. Some of mine are wool, some are not. Some are cotton mixes, some are wool mixes. This lovely deep blue is even a little bit felted. But it's okay, it's not too bad. And for my dark colours, some are navy blue, some are black, some are a very dark grey. But it all works together well in the end. 74 patches. Counting. Cut the button bands with the seam allowance. We lay out the patches and organise them into columns. Now we need to label them. This is so important. That way you keep your design as you planned it all the way through. Keep the labels on the patches. You can even join squares together to get the right amount. It will still look fantastic. You can see just a very simple seam, little reverse at the start and the finish. It's such an easy project to do this part because it's not a lot of sections. See, they're the fronts. They're 4 patches by 3 patches. Next we sew the columns together and we make them join at the seams. You'll see that I am just fiddling with it a little bit at the seam to make and pull it to make it match. This part goes so fast. And there's the sleeves. And there's the back with the sleeves. Now that that's all done, I'm just going to iron each of the sections. This is one of the sleeves, both sides. And I check again, make sure I've got it right and everything's the right way around. I still have those little tags on. They're my fronts with the sleeves. And here's the back as I planned it. And here's my back with the sleeves. Shape the shoulder seams. The original knitting pattern has a little bit of shaping at the shoulders, so I did too. So I've folded, this looks like my two fronts, and I have cut across. Just using my eye to work out what that's going to be. Then use the first one as the pattern for the next ones. And that's done. Now we cut the lining. Now I know this was a really strange way to do the lining, and I'm not sure if I would do it this way again, but it worked out okay. So bear with me. I was very lucky as well. My lining fabric has a little bit of stretch in it. I pinned it together with safety pins, and then I have tacked or basted each one in quite a long way from the edge. That's because I want them to separate when I sew the seams. I'm going to sew the knits together on the sewing machine and hand sew the rest. When you do the front button band, keep the button band done up. That way your buttons and buttonholes are going to match perfectly. See, kept it all on. Back to where I've basted it there. That one has been finished. I actually did finish the button bands by sewing it on the machine. So here's how this one's been done. I'm going to trim down the edges just to get rid of some of that bulk. Then on the wrong side, I will turn in the lining, pin it, and then baste it or tack it. Now on the other side, I'm going to do something we call stitch in the ditch, where you sew from the right side, but put the needle in right at the join of those two knits, the button band and the knits on the front. You won't be able to see that line of sewing, and at the back, it's perfect. And it's all attached. Join the front to the back at the shoulders. Shoulders can be a little bit stretchy, so I did this seam first. So I've actually got two shoulder seams done on the machine. It's still pretty stretchy, so I have sewed it again using some tape to make that seam strong. You don't want your cardigan stretching out of shape. Then I pin the lining together, turn it in, pin it. Then again I will tack or baste it with big stitches and then hand sew it. I do it that way because I don't like hand sewing with pins sticking into me. I'm sure you don't either. Next I attach the collar. First of all, I stay stitch around the neckline. And then I stay stitch the seam around the bottom of the collar. Now I'm going to pin the collar to the neckline. And this time I won't tack or baste it, I'm just going to use a lot of pins. I've made sure that it starts at exactly the right spot, and boy am I thankful that I was able to buy an old sweater that actually had this fabulous collar already on it. You'll notice that I keep pulling the rest of the cardigan up onto my table. That is so that the weight of it doesn't pull the stitching out of shape. Then, same story. I pin it, fold in the lining and pin it, then I tack it, and this is the final result. We're nearly there. So I cut out the cuffs Lots of them. Just keep cutting. This cardigan really is big. Then I sew the cuffs. Sometimes the cuffs are joined in several places. This one doesn't look like it is, but some of mine are. And again, the band is a little bit smaller than the actual sleeve. And so we sew that together carefully, stretching it as we go, and that makes it fit just beautifully. You'll notice that the side seam or the sleeve seam hasn't been sewn at this point. It's still open. And yes, I'm going to cut off some of that bulk, and there's the sleeve. Now we sew the sleeves to the front and the back. Making sure our pattern is right, we're going to sew it right sides to right sides and make sure that it all matches at the shoulder. And again, I am not sewing the lining in the first seam. There's the sleeves all attached, but not the side seam. Now comes the famous gusset. Please note, the gusset is optional. I just did it to give myself more room in the arms. You may not need more room in your arms. It's certainly something that's quite hard to show on this video, or I found it hard to show. Let me know if you need more help with the gusset thing, and I can make another little video showing you just how to do the gusset. Now we sew down the last side of the gusset, and then I will continue sewing on that seam right down to the band, forming the side seam. And then I will come back to the gusset to the other end of it and sew from that part of the armpit through to the cuff. Take your time with finishing this off. You're so close to the end. It's tacked, basted, was pinned, then tacked and basted, and now I do the hand sewing. Lastly, and this is optional too, I'm going to sew here and there to attach the lining to the knit part of the cardigan. I've done it in white so you can see it. You don't have to do it everywhere, just here and there. See, like that. Here you can see all the hand stitching on the lining. And I've tidied up my seams by just hand stitching them down. Lots of hand stitching. There you are, finished. Woohoo! I really hope that you get to make one of these for yourself. It was such fun, and it is so warm and cozy and just so comfortable to wear. Most of all though, thanks to JW Anderson for your fabulous design and your generosity. And thank you for watching. I really appreciated it.